3 rides in this park have over a 90-minute wait right now, but are they lying? We're gonna see if Disney's Animal Kingdom is telling the truth when it comes to its wait times. I've arrived to the park around 11:30, which I definitely don't recommend doing. I certainly recommend getting here early. Rope drop Flight of Passage or buy Flight of Passage since it's a fancy ride, and then jump on the safari first so you get a good safari. Lots of active animals, but that's not what this video is about. Go check out Best Day Ever at Animal Kingdom if you want good tips. Take a look at the wait times as we walk into a very crowded Dinoland. 140 minutes at Flight of Passage. The fancy ride is still available. It said it wasn't earlier and it popped back up, so that can happen. Oh, Kevin. Anyway. Dinosaur has a 40-minute line. It just dropped from 55. Kilimanjaro Safaris 95, Navi 90. Again, Expedition Everest is closed. Cali has a 30-minute wait. TriceraTop Spin has a 25-minute wait. Dinosaur is one of my favorite rides, low-key. I like it more than some of the more popular rides at this park, just because I love that it's like a physical car through physical sets with large dinosaurs. It may be too scary for some little ones, even though it has a lower height requirement of 40 inches. Hey, AllEars, you're looking nice from your new paint job. It's nice. Used to be a Triceratops right here because that's Joe Rohde, the lead Imagineer of the park's favorite dinosaur. But when it changed from its original Countdown to Extinction to Dinosaur to promote the film of the same name, they made it AllEars. But anyway, 40-minute posted wait as we're walking in right now. So let's start the clock. Look at that cute dinosaur weather vane on the top of Restaurantosaurus. I've never noticed that before. The weather vanes are usually very cute Easter eggs in Disney parks, and that's a good one. Time check, it's been 22 minutes, which is more than half of the posted wait, and I'm still outside. So I'm gonna put a Q&A box on our Instagram to keep me entertained, so I'm answering questions people have, so make sure to follow us on social because we do fun stuff like that sometimes. I like when I have time to go through and answer a bunch of DMs personally, or do Q&As to answer people's questions about Genie and planning and Star Cruiser and whatever else they might have. So make sure you're following us. Finally stepped inside, 35 minutes, so I think it's going to be a little over, although we may move faster now that we're inside. I do like to point out, though, that a lot of the displays in here are real dinosaur fossils on loan from different museums, which is really cool. Some of them are cast from real fossils, but some of them are actually real relics and things. Probably Dr. Alan Grant found out in the wild, so that's pretty cool if you're in here and you're stuck. Some stuff to look at. My brain can never wrap around how old these things are. You know what I mean? Like, it literally doesn't understand how long ago dinosaurs existed. Update, it's been a few minutes longer than the posted wait. I'm still in here, not in the room with Dr. Grant Seeker, which is where the line stops. They also just came on the loudspeaker to let us know there's a technical difficulty, so the wait may be a little longer than anticipated. Fun fact alert, did you know they used the Carnotaurus as the mean scary dinosaur in this movie and ride because they didn't want to use a Tyrannosaurus Rex? Because there's a much more famous dinosaur franchise where the T-Rex is the bad guy. It's called Smurmassic Smark, and it's down I-4. Update, still in line. It's still posted as open on the My Disney Experience app, but the wait time has gone up to 60 minutes. I've been waiting 55 at this point, but they have continued to update us that there is a technical difficulty and there will be delays, but it's not down. I'm assuming they're just running it at like half capacity or something. An hour and 1 minute in. Oh, moving right through the pre-show. Looks like they are trying to move us through, but that's where the clock would normally stop. So it was an hour and 1 minute.
Keep an eye on it.
It was about 15 minutes that I was delayed with the technical difficulty. Based on where I was stopped and how fast the line was moving, when the delay started, I was already 5 minutes over the posted wait. So I would have said, theoretically, my guess would have been 10 minutes over the posted wait had there not been a technical difficulty.
They're not gonna make it! They're not gonna make it!
Mission accomplished.
You made it!
That's not the worst that we're going to see today, looking at the wait times. Longer than I like to spend in line for anything, though, especially because Dinosaur, if you were to rope drop that one or wait till a little bit later in the day, you can probably get on Dinosaur without too long of a line. You could also book it on Genie Plus if you're buying Genie Plus in this park. So I don't think I would jump in line for Dinosaur if it had more than a 40-minute wait. I wouldn't recommend it. Even though we saw it did take a little bit longer than just a 40-minute wait. But this park, I still don't think you need Genie Plus if you're willing to get up and commit and get here early. My Genie Plus answer might change once I wait in the 150-minute line over at Flight of Passage. Next up, we're going to do something that's surprising even myself. But TriceraTop Spin, which is Dumbo with dinosaurs, has a posted 35-minute wait. That's an incredibly long wait for an attraction like this. But we're going to do it. We're going to clock it. It says 35 in the app. Update. 10 minutes in the TriceraTop Spin queue. It's about as much as you should wait for this ride. And I worked at this ride on my college program, but this is a long wait for this ride. Great news, 20 minutes on the clock. I'm going to be in the next group, so it looks like it'll be a little bit less than that posted wait of 30 minutes. I do want to point out that this attraction doesn't even have Genie Plus, so some people assume Disney's inflating the wait time so that you purchase Genie Plus, but I don't believe that to be true, and this attraction doesn't even have it. So if you want to ride this one, it's standby or nothing. 24 minutes after getting in line, I am stepping into my Dinosaur. Pro tip, front goes up and down, back rocks you forward and back. You want to be in the front. Almost a disaster. Do you know how mad I would be if I lost one of my favorite pairs of ears on TriceraTop Spin? Oh my. TriceraTop Spin, check. Pretty much spot on with that 30-minute, about 5 minutes less than that posted 30 minutes outside. TriceraTop Spin is fine. I'm not going to disparage it because you need rides like TriceraTop Spin for your littles that can't do bigger rides like Dinosaur and Expedition Everest. I would say, though, 25 minutes waiting with a small child is probably a lot worse than 25 minutes waiting as adults because what I understand, kids don't have as much patience. They probably have as much patience as me, which is not a lot. As some pro tips from friends of mine who have littles, definitely bring stuff for them to do with you while you're waiting in lines, whether that be like sticker books or kind of coloring. Some kind of activity for them to do is a great thing to have in your bag. You can pre-buy those. I know when I was little, my mom used to have like sticker books and stuff that I didn't get other than when she needed me to be quiet, basically. So it was like new and exciting when we'd go out to a restaurant or have to wait in line or on a plane because it wasn't the same toys I was playing with all the time. So maybe grab some inexpensive things for them to do to help you pass the time in line. And you know what? Sticker books may work on adults too if they're being unruly. Expedition Everest is still under its refurbishment for another month or so. They haven't actually released a reopening date. So not doing that one today. Let's take a look at what's left. We're doing both rides in Pandora and Kilimanjaro Safaris. Flight of Passage right now has a 150-minute wait. Safaris has a 70-minute wait, as does Navi River Journey. Where to first? I have decided that next up I will tackle the two attractions in Pandora, the World of Avatar, starting with Navi River Journey. Mostly because Navi River Journey's wait doesn't really go down, so I might as well do that one right now and hope that by the time I wait 70 minutes for that, Flight of Passage And then eventually safaris also go down. I am gonna grab a little snack though before getting in line. I got the Fruits of Moara bar, which is usually only available at this one cart in Pandora. And it's just a fruit popsicle with lime, raspberry, and strawberry. And sometimes just a popsicle sounds good, you know? I got a long time to eat it, considering the wait went up to 75 minutes. So here we go, let's start the clock. I do want to point out these signs that they have at the entrance here. There are no restrooms. Everybody must be present when you enter the queue. Keep that in mind. Bad news, my popsicle only made it 13 minutes of the way into the line. I still have all of this to go. It often surprises people how long the wait is for this attraction, and that this is my #1 recommendation for Genie Plus at this park. When you're booking at 7 a.m., this is the ride that I would tell you to book even over Kilimanjaro Safaris. But the reason is, wait times are based on how popular an attraction is and how fast they can load and unload people and capacity. So this attraction is popular because it's part of Pandora. It has a very low capacity and a very long load and unload because it's those boats that don't sit many people. So it already is always gonna have a longer wait. When there wasn't any kind of skip the line service, this often had a longer wait than Flight of Passage. But now that Genie Plus is around, it's gonna have even longer wait because now you're prioritizing certain people over others. So the line is always really long at this attraction. And if you're purchasing Genie Plus at this park, I definitely recommend booking this one first right at 7 a.m. If you're not purchasing Genie Plus, this one's tricky because I would tell you to rope drop Safaris or Flight of Passage much more than I would tell you to rope drop this one. It's a very pleasant attraction, it's very pretty, and there's one very, very cool animatronic in it, but this one's hard to recommend to waiting in a longer line because it's pretty short, and there is only that one really cool animatronic, so you're better off waiting in a longer line for Kilimanjaro Safaris or Flight of Passage or spending your time there. So if you're not purchasing Genie Plus, I would still recommend rope dropping those other attractions first and maybe wait till later in the day to try and get on this one. This is nice. They're doing an in-queue drink cart. That's fancy. Electronic payments only. And it's kind of towards the end of the line, so that's odd, but you can bring bottled drinks on the ride as long as you can put the top back on it. But there's also water bottle refillers here. 52 minutes, and I'm close to the merge point, which is where they merge Lightning Lane and Standby together. River journey check. It was right about an hour, so about 15 minutes less than the posted wait, which pretty good. Disney would rather it be a little bit longer posted so that if it's less, you're happy, as opposed to the other way around. It's up to 95 minutes though. Oh my gosh. I do think that attraction is so pleasant. It's so nice. And that animatronic of the Shaman of Song is awesome. But I personally wouldn't wait more than like 30 or so minutes for it. So either use that Lightning Lane or wait till it drops a little bit later in the afternoon. But now it's time for the big guns. Flight of Passage has actually dropped. It was 115 when I got in the Navi line. It's down to 95. That's the lowest I've seen it since I got in the park. So I guess it's time to fly. It's a little after 2:30 right now. Park hopping is still only at 2 p.m. and later. I'm kind of hoping we hit this sweet spot here at Flight of Passage where people have park hopped and gone to another park already, but people haven't park hopped into Animal Kingdom yet. A lot of people don't park hop into Animal Kingdom since it's open the earliest and closes the earliest. A lot of people start their day here and then park hop into other parks. So I'm hoping we hit kind of like a sweet spot where a lot of people left already. This is certainly the most popular ride here at Animal Kingdom. For good reason. It's a simulator where you fly over the Valley of Moara in 3D. It's definitely the most impressive simulator I've ever been on. You ride on the back of a Banshee, which is a unique seat. Definitely recommend sitting in that test seat if you're concerned about how it fits. But this one gets really, really long lines. It's not unusual recently to see it at 150, 180 minutes. This one is a fancy ride, meaning it will cost you an additional fee just for this ride to skip the line and join the lightning lane. They were sold out when I got into the park, but I refreshed a few times and I've seen them pop up. However, if you want to buy the fancy ride for this one, I recommend doing it as early as possible, which for resort guests is 7 a.m. For non-resort guests, it's what time the park opens, because this one will be the one that sells out at Animal Kingdom. 20 minutes in, we've made it to the caves. It's now the part of the video where I give you recommendations of things you can do while you're standing in really long lines. You play heads up with your friends and family. You won't get that one next. You won't get that one next. You don't know him next. You could look for hidden Mickeys. Do you think those 3 circles in the wall count, or are those just 3 circles? You could plan the next part of your trip. Fiddle faddle for a Genie Plus, or perhaps mobile order what you'd like to eat after the attraction. I'm ordering cheeseburger pods. What do you want? You can stare off into the abyss and wonder about the meaning of life. You could answer this question. Is cereal a soup? Cereal is not a soup. That's a crazy thing to ask if you don't this. There's a lot of things you can do while you're waiting in line, though none of them are as fun as not waiting in line. And that is why we have our videos, to help you avoid doing this. It's been 50 minutes now, 50, and I'm in this part of the cave I've actually never had to wait in before. This one always has a really long line because it's incredibly popular, and going back to what I was saying, it has a very low capacity. I've tried to do the math on it before and I just can't. There's 16 bikes, so there's 16 bikes, there's A, B, C, D. It's got a very low capacity, a very long load and unload time to get everybody strapped into those bikes, and it's very popular. Plus they're prioritizing Lightning Lane. And keep in mind, the people in the Lightning Lane are not just those who have purchased their fancy ride. It's also VIP services. It's also disability access services, people using Rider Swap. There's a decent amount of people going in the Lightning Lane, and they're always going to prioritize them, which is what they did with Fast Pass as well. That's not exclusive to Genie, but it's moving pretty slow, is what I'm trying to say. I do like to point out that this queue does have in-queue restrooms. So if you need to use it, you can, and then just kind of wiggle your way back into line with your party, or just get in line behind someone else. Finally made it into the lab, and we are at an hour and 31 minutes, so safe to say we're going to hit that 95 minutes. The question is now, how much over are we going to go? It used to be one of my pro tips to jump in line last here, and while you can still do that, you can always jump in any line you want up to the time the park closes, and no matter what the line is, you get to ride it. So then you're not wasting an hour of your park day in line, you're wasting an hour after the park's already closed. And it used to drop quite a bit, but because people want to avoid paying for the Lightning Lane, and a lot of people are using that trick, we're still seeing waits of 70, 80, 90 minutes, even right at the last thing at night. We track the waits every day and we see it. And I've also talked to a lot of cast members that say that little hack of thinking it'll be like 30, 40 minutes at the end of the night isn't necessarily going to work anymore. So you can still do it and not waste time that you would have been spending during the day in the line at night, or I really recommend road dropping this one. Just past Hank in the tank. Moved into this room. Good news is they're not using the whole back and forth in this room, so that means we're almost there. The bad news is it's been an hour and 49 minutes, and it was supposed to only take an hour and 35 minutes, so we're already 15 minutes over. And finally making my way to the pre-show. An hour and 55 minutes later. flight of passage check. Posted 95, ended up being 115, so 20 minutes over. So I feel the exact opposite of when I got off Navi, and it was like 15, 20 minutes under. So that's why Disney sometimes overposts them. That attraction is so cool. I don't even love simulators. The best way I can describe this is like if Soarin' was a 3D ride with a little more thrill. Like literally, it's the same ride system as Soarin', but with a fancier seat. If you don't believe me, look at this. We can show that clip of the thing. It's a great attraction. It's definitely a must-do in your Animal Kingdom. It's really, really cool. Do I want to wait 2 hours for it? No. I don't want to wait 2 hours for anything. You don't have to if you rope drop it. If you buy a lightning lane, I know you have to spend money, which is never fun. But if you rope drop it, you can probably get on it faster than I just did. If you think an experiment like we did with Rise would be helpful for this one, let me know in the comments. For Rise, we did a video where Breedlove rope dropped as a non-resort guest, Quincy rope dropped as a resort guest, and I bought a lightning lane to see what the weights were like. So we could do that on Flight of Passage if that would be helpful. Let us know. And to be clear, when I say rope drop it, I mean as a resort guest. If you're not a Disney resort guest, the line might be pretty long by the time you can get in here because all the resort guests can rope drop it. However, this one doesn't always sell out for lightning lane for non-resort guests the way Rise does. So that might be your best bet if you're not a resort guest. Otherwise, just keep watching it. But it holds a pretty steady 90+ minute wait for most of the day. About 5 o'clock and we are headed to our final attraction of the day, Kilimanjaro Safaris. Before I go get in the very long line at Kilimanjaro Safaris, I'm gonna get something to drink, and because it's for once not 1,000 degrees outside, I can get one of my favorite underrated hot beverages in Walt Disney World. So it'll be like the last time I can get it probably for a while, because it's supposed to get hot again. This little stand right here is called Tamu Tamu Refreshments. It's where you can get your Dole Whip here in Animal Kingdom. So they mostly have Dole Whip pineapple, but they sometimes will have a specialty one. Like right now they have Scar's Lair, which has sour apple as well. You can get the boozy ones here where they put coconut rum and different things, but we're going a completely different direction. It's just a simple African coffee. So it's just coffee with amarula liqueur, and apparently in a Disneyland cup. Whoops. So amarula is made from the marula tree, and it's what goes into zebra domes. And it's a cream liqueur from Africa, and what's really funny about marula is that elephants will knock into the tree to drop the fruit, and then they'll eat the fruit, and then they'll be like kind of tipsy. So the elephant's on the bottom. And so this is just coffee with that in it. It's a cream liqueur like Bailey's or Kahlua, but I like the way this one tastes. And it reminds me of the time I went to Africa and actually drank marula there under a marula tree. And now for our final attraction of the day, Kilimanjaro Safaris, one of my all-time favorite rides. 60-minute posted wait. The clock has started. Also, as a pro tip, always know that Kilimanjaro Safaris closes a little bit earlier than the rest of the park sometimes, because they can't have the animals out when it's too dark. So make sure you check in the app. If you just click into Kilimanjaro Safaris, it'll tell you the hours, because I'd hate for someone to think, oh, I'll just wait till 8 o'clock to ride it, so there's not as long of a line when it closes at 6:45.
Please have children and valuables unloaded before
The reason I saved Kilimanjaro Safaris till later is because while my pro tip is to ride this first thing or early in the morning as possible, the evening is the other best time to ride because the animals are a little more active. It's a little cooler today. Plus, they bring out the hyenas in the evening time. And you may know hyenas are one of my favorite animals. But you can only see them in the late afternoon. Little more than 20 minutes in, and we're moving at a pretty good clip. So my guess is this will not take a full hour. I'm hoping that we are reaping the benefit, and at this point, at 5:30, that people are leaving the park, since this one does open earlier. But we shall see. I have definitely stood in a very long safari line before, and it started and went longer. It used part of the extended queue, and they didn't have to do that today, so fingers crossed. Let's do a little late afternoon wait time check. It's 115 still at Flight of Passage, only 20 over at Dinosaur. Much better. It's dropped to 40 here at Safaris, and I feel like that'll be a lot more close to what I wait. Still 60 over at Navi River Journey. They're done with Conservation Station, Animation Class, Festival of the Lion King, Kite Tails, Feathered Friendly Flights. All those are pretty much done for the day. Tough to Be a Bug, no wait. Cali River Rapids, 25-minute wait. 10-minute wait at TriceraTop Spin. So definitely in the evening, there's not a ton to do here once all the shows start closing up. But I do think if you were to hop into Animal Kingdom, you may have some great success getting on things without too long of lines, because a lot of people hop out of Animal Kingdom. In fact, we were talking about doing a new film series, if that sounds helpful to you, where we do just the afternoon or just the morning in certain parks, and then you can piece them together. Let us know.
Parking area. If you are traveling with someone in a scooter or wheelchair, please have this person lead your party.
Hyenas! They were so good. Started off as a slow safari, but then we ended up good lion action, good elephant action, most importantly good hyena action, giraffes. It was a lovely safari. They always are. But first thing in the morning, still my #1 recommended time, except for you don't get hyenas unless you go. It's about 6:15 right now. Flight of Passage still has 105 minutes. Dinosaur's down to 20. Safari's down to 15. Navi still 60. So I jumped right in line for safaris before they started dropping the weight. And now it's basically a walk-on, which is really cool. That's a wrap on this experiment here in Animal Kingdom. The biggest discrepancy was at Kilimanjaro Safaris, where I think I just walked in a few minutes earlier than they flipped the time, because it was about half the weight, but it slowly dropped that low. So this park is still easier to navigate than something like Hollywood Studios, where there's so many heavy hitters that everything has super duper long lines. There's still enough other stuff to do in this park. There's Festival of the Lion King, there's the animation class, there's Rafiki's Planet Watch, the animal trails. There's a lot of other things to do to pepper in between these big attractions. So I don't think you need Genie Plus as much at this park. However, as you saw, these waits, for the most part, are not being dramatic. I really did wait a very long time for Navi River Journey, for Dinosaur, for Flight of Passage. So it's best to either do these things very early or very late. Flight of Passage is certainly going to be your hardest attraction at this park. So for me, I might consider paying for Flight of Passage and then not buying Genie Plus to help offset that cost. Or if you're a resort guest, I really, really recommend rope dropping first thing for that early theme park entry. Let us know what other experiments you want to see down in the comments. We are going to redo some of the Genie Plus ones now that it's busier, now that there have been some changes, to help provide you with updated tips. Until next time, friends, I'm Molly. It's been magical. Now go watch Best Day Ever at Disney's Animal Kingdom.